Good evening.
Hello.
Hello. Now I know you can hear me.
I can hear you, and I can see you.
Excellent. Who could generally see and hear, but good evening, everyone. Good. Isn't it warm?
Oh,
Isn't it warm? I look like I've got a smock on at the minute. It's my
you
work
have
shirt.
no idea what's going on underneath.
Well, it's a pair of shorts. It's a pair of shorts and no socks. And I've taken my cufflinks out to try and be as... We've got fans going on, so you may hear a bit of background noise, but I make no apologies. Hello to everyone in the stream. I can see various different people in there. Hello, everyone. Everyone's saying hello.
Hello.
And Crimson is doing a sterling job of saying hello back. So, this week. So, usual format. Lemmy's trying to settle her bum on the keyboard. Oh, you can see her ears because of where she sat today.
Yeah, you can.
Well, I've been out all day, so she's a bit sort of, how have you been?
Oh, stick it to my face. The fan's blowing it straight over.
All right, let me position
it's like
the fan.
Gates in here.
I position the fan so that the fur does not blow into Crimson's face as I stroke Lemmy. Okay, so the usual format. Going to ramble a bit about this last week and what's going on in Hobbyland. Then then today's subject. Today's subject is whatever I said it was, which isn't on the screen. It's
the Traitor Legions and their new codex.
That's the one. I knew it was Chaos Marines. I just couldn't remember quite how I'd framed it. What I'm going to do is I've got this book here. Now, a lot of you got this book now, but it doesn't mean I can't ramble about something that is already available. I'm going to look at the Legion-specific stuff for a couple of Legions and talk about how I think that plays to what the Legions are meant to be. There may be some overlap with what I talked about in the Codex review, but we have a super chat. Mick the Machine, Coke sponsorship, as well as the usual shameless plug for PF3.
It won't be long.
Not to be confused with PS3, which is still a cracking console, but doesn't do the web stuff quite so well. Thank you very much, sir. Very much appreciated. Still no sponsorship deal. I had about a 5,000 calorie kebab for tea. Still no sponsorship deal. Actually, weight's terrible, but that's another story.
What's PF3?
I think he's being facetious. So, it's the thing for the audience. It's sort of PF3. What's PF3, Paul? Oh, I'll tell you what PF3 is. So, Paulfest 3 is a community-run fun day, a community day at Tabletop Events in Belper in October. I'm sure Mick the Machine will put the date up in the chat somewhere. It's a community get-together. Bring some minis, throw some dice, have a laugh. Paul turns up, wanders round. We can have a chat. He rambles like a crazy guy, and everyone goes home. October the 23rd. 23rd of October. Tickets available via the Discord on the Tabletop Events website. I think you need to be in the Discord to get the password for the Tabletop Events website because it's a community day. 22nd, not 23rd. It's the Saturday that's nearest to that. Yeah. So, so thank you, everyone involved in that advert. That infomercial that infomercial. Then, whilst I am rambling on like a nutcase, Crimson will be capturing stuff from the chat and posing to me questions and things.
Which is very different to posing for him.
Quite.
It's very different.
Quite. It's different skill sets involved.
Yeah.
It's a different medium.
Get that image out of your head.
Sorry, what? Okay, so what's been going on this last week? Well, Lemmy doesn't want me to talk about the Chaos Codex because she's laid on it. But maybe she'll have moved by the time we get onto that bit. Do you know, I've just realised something. The really nice thing about my beard is I can open like the top few buttons of my shirt and no one can tell. I wonder if I can do that one as well without people seeing and be really cool. Yeah, I can. I've got like 4 buttons undone now, and my beard protects my modesty. How good is that?
Can you not see your medallion?
Can I? Where is my medallion?
Oh, oh no, that's it.
No, it's here. It's here. It's just not quite. No. Not quite shining yet. So this last week, what's been going down in Groovetown? So hobby-wise, been a few things. It's mainly been Vlog Central for videos into the members' lounge. But this last week was also some stuff that went into Vlog. I've done some work on our paint. I don't know if I'd call it painting the Kronspine Incarnate for the upcoming Fondia campaign, which is good. I did it all in about an hour with just contrast paints, and it looks all right. And it just felt so wrong. I felt I had to touch it up for another hour, 2 hours, and which made no discernible difference whatsoever. Should have just left it. I've also started painting the Astral Templars that are needed for that campaign. Did a unit of Vanguard Hunters. Not happy with the helms. Not happy with the helms. They just look like a blob of purple with very little definition to them because it's lots of very dark. It's dark on dark contrast. You can't really see anything. But what I did, after a little bit of light Googling, I have seen some other people's Astral Templars, and they've done the helm in 2 colours, keeping the sort of faceplate, he says, talking behind his hand, the sort of faceplate as the sort of purple Astral Templars colour, and then the sort of coronet bit and the sides in gold, and that looked quite well. So, when I'm painting my power doors, my Vanguard power doors, I'm going to try the helms in that scheme. And if it works, I'll go back and redo my Vanguard Hunters. Well, some of them. I've only done 5 of them. Those 5 Vanguard Hunters. Starting on the Paladors, I'm trying to work off Duncan's paint scheme for the skin of the Griff Hounds. No, Griff Chargers. They look quite silly. Riding Griff Hounds, they'd be like roller skates, 1 on each foot. So from a hobby perspective, that's mostly it. Put up some shelves on Saturday to accommodate more armies. So it expanded the capacity, used one of the unutilized walls. Yeah. So one of the other things I've done is tried to get, or I have got, a schedule in for the things I'm filming over the next couple of months. One of which we did on Sunday. We filmed part 2 of Crimson Learns Age of Sigmar.
Oh, we did.
Which was really good. It was
brilliant. Well, I thought it was brilliant. Everybody else will watch it and go, "Oh, it's just." But yeah, but I just thought it was brilliant.
It was a fun game. It was a fun day. We had an impromptu barbecue in the middle, in between two phases.
Thank you, Joe.
The legend that is Immortan Joe came down for the day and helped us with it, which was really good. And we're going to be building up to a narrative game between you and Joe, aren't we? That's the plan.
We are.
That's the plan as part of the campaign that will be coming at some point around the Battle for Excelsis. I don't know if I'd call it a campaign as such. More, it's probably going to be half a dozen very linked, very themed battles. We have a super chat from Paul Gray. So for say HI Paul 3 Oktoberfest, any bets on whether Guard will have a codex yet for 9th? Okay, I am leaning towards no as an answer for that. Well, I don't know, because G-dubs have got to, from what I'm aware, they've got 3 codices to do before the end of before they move to 10th. If they follow the standard pattern, they'll move to 10th next year. Don't know if that's going to happen. I have absolutely no insider information on that. Nothing that GW has sent me has indicated that at all. That's my hunch, though. I think they're moving away from... I don't think they'll do something like they did with 8th, where they brought out all the Phoenix Rising books afterwards that so annoyed everyone. I think they'll move straight to 10th. On that basis, they have at least got the Demons Codex. So they introduced some stuff for that yester. I've had no info from G-dubs on that, so I know no more than you guys know. It looks interesting in so much as it's going to be, it looks like the option for 4 mono god armies plus a combined army. Oh, we have another super chat. I'm still kind of answering that one, but I'll see if I can tangent and then return. From Sam Nash, are you planning to play any Horus Heresy runs from campaigns? No, not in the immediate future. I'm not, for 2 reasons. Well, I'll be honest. The main reason is that Horus Heresy as a setting doesn't particularly appeal to me, because I think the options for narrative gaming are very, very restricted, unless you're just going to get 2 or 3 armies that are in a protracted event around one particular bit of it. Because who goes where and who fights where is so preset. It's not grabbing me by the narratives and saying, play me. It's, yes.
Okay.
Good.
What does grab you by the narratives, just as a matter of interest?
I'll get to that.
Okay, then. Good.
So, no. I'd like to give you a longer answer than that, but no, there's not. I can't hold another system in my head and paint enough armies to run campaigns in when I'm not going to be narratively enthused to do it. That said, it's not inconceivable that I paint some up as Iron Hands, because I have Iron Hands already and I haven't varied the scheme from the Heresy days. I might find a Traitor Legion to do that with as well and paint the other half up, and then maybe at some point, I don't know. I'm not going to rule it out, but one of the issues is, as well as interest, it's bandwidth for learning a new system. But I'm going to contradict myself there in 5 minutes. So, detangenting back to Paul Gray's question. So, they've got Demons, Guard, and probably Squats to do. They've been plugging Squats for so long now, I'd be surprised if they left them to 10th. I think they'll hit the Christmas market, the Squats. So if they're doing I have no idea when they're doing demons, but if they're hinting about it now, based on when they've done previous hints in the past, I reckon they're probably end of August, maybe. I don't know. Which means if they line up squats for Christmas, then I reckon Guard will come end of Feb. I reckon end of Feb, maybe. Which means they've got then sort of March time, they start to build the excitement about 10th and drip things like that out. Possible they do it another way round and they do squat for last and link it in with the launch of 10th, because they do have a habit of launching new armies in each edition. Well, I say new. They did it with Death Guard and the various Primaris upgrades. I wonder what 10 new Primaris units we'll get for 10th. I don't know. So I don't imagine Guard will have a new codex for then. I think they are most likely to be lastity last. 2 days ago, I would have said demons would be last, because I don't think many people play demons. So other hobby related shenanigans. So yes, I've also worked out what games are coming up relatively soon. Really cool to see the Claw in the chat this evening. He and I have got a game of Aeronautica planned in the not too distant future. So we will be flying around tiny planes, going pew 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 pew.
We've also got Keith Amos from West Oz.
Wow. It must be about 3 a.m. because it normally is when I ask, what time is it there when this happens? But hello in Australia. I hope... Oh, you're in the middle of winter over there, aren't you? So I still hope it's not too hot, whether it be winter or not. I hope it's not too hot. It's very warm here. By our standards, incredibly warm. We're not acclimatized to this warmth, but just not. Other exciting things. Speaking of the Claw, if you've never checked it out, go and have a look at his YouTube channel. Fast Panda Gaming is a channel that he runs with a good friend of mine, Storm Shroud. And it's all based on Infinity the Game, which is a high sci-fi skirmish game. Some of the best metal minis in the world right now. They are super cool. Go check them out. Keith says it's 3:54 a.m. and a freezing 9 degrees Celsius. Oh,
wow, 9 degrees. Can we come to your house?
Oh God, I was 38 degrees in Hungary for the last 2 weeks. I talked to a lot of chaps and chapesses in Romania with work, and they were saying that it's been high 30s and no. Yes, looking forward to that. I've got a couple of 40k games planned in, and a lot of AOS. AOS is my big love at the moment, but I'm starting to feel the 40k a little bit more. I am very much in the scope of wanting to do 40k wise, wanting to do things with the Imperial Guard and Orcs and Imperial Guard and Tyranids and Imperial Guard and Tau. Unfortunately, they are, with the exception of Orcs, but it does kind of count with Orcs, they are all my smallest armies. So when I finish painting on various AOS armies, are you moving, Lemmy, or are you wanting to fuss? Are you wanting to put fur on Crimson? Okay. Just like.
Don't forget, you've got to arrange that game with Mick and his rats.
Well, I mean, Mick's desperate to play me with his Skaven, apparently. I hear this third hand, but
He said
with
last
my
week.
Skaven last
He
week.
said last week.
I've slept since then.
I keep asking Mick. I've not forgot.
She does. And I keep going, I haven't planned more than 2 months ahead. Oh, wow. Wandering Walrus super chats. I have a Romanian dog called Desi.
Oh,
Can you give him a shout? Desi! Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
Oh, Desi.
Desi's a good boy.
Is it Desi or Desi?
I don't know.
It's Desi.
Desi.
Oh, you're setting the dogs off downstairs.
Yeah, they are. They are barking
mad.
downstairs.
They're
Yeah.
going mad.
Oh,
Desi.
So I've not got anything in plan to do those things with 40k at the minute, but that's where I'm probably going to get. So I don't know what hobby thing is going.
Please stop.
I can't not. All right, she's sat now. I don't know where I'm going with my hobby stuff post July, because that'll be when I'll have done the Astral Templars and I'll do other stuff next. So I'm not sure, but those are things that I am thinking about.
I'm loving Wandering Walrus. I love that. That's good. That's cool.
That just put me in mind of a piece of software called Mural that gives all, whenever you log onto it, it gives people things like Wandering Walrus, Transient Seahorse, and all sorts of different names. She's not letting me stroke you, Lenny.
I am. It's just.
Hang on. I'll stroke you under the chin. That doesn't fall out quite so easily. Okay, it's chin rubs. Chin rubs today. So that's mostly where I've been at hobby-wise this last week. Oh, no, there is more. So the things that were... Come on, brain. I occasionally catch sight of the chat, which purrs my brain. So the things that GW previewed this weekend, I have to say I really like the look of Warcry. Those models are so cool. So I don't know if I'm going to pick that up and if I'm going to do anything with that, which kind of contradicts what I was saying before about not having the brain space for another system. But it also comes back to whether it's grabbing me with Rule of Cool and desire to do narrative things, because it's set in Gur, and all the AOS stuff I'm doing at the moment is in Gur, and it's set in the Gnarlwood, and the Gnarlwood is such a flavoursome, vicious place, and I can just sort of see bands of Sylvaneth, and that scenery is so cool. So yeah, I am thinking of that as well. Fluids. Oh, we've had this is a membership shout out. Paul Gray, 13 months. Will gladly be the guard for any scenario you require. Well, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. I will keep that duly noted. Thing is, I kind of want some guard of my own, and I'm thinking of how I want to build a generic guard army that I can paint quickly and replicate a style.
That's probably, I've just written down from Commander Autism. Are you still looking for Guard Infinity? Is that?
You probably said in Guard Infantry.
Infantry, sorry, yeah.
So I've got a huge amount of Guard Infantry. I just need to paint the things.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
And I want to produce a scheme that I can easily and quickly replicate myself. And I need to, once I've cracked that, and I can start churning them out, yeah. Oh, another super chat, another one from Wandering Walrus. Why, thank you, sir. What do you think of the squats? I like the models, but they aren't 40k. It depends what era of 40k you're from. They were very much part of 40k when I got into it. Second edition, there wasn't a huge model range, but they were very much a part of the world. And they were space dwarves, but equally, Eldar are space elves, Necrons are space undead. There are some original things in 40k that don't have an origin in fantasy battle, but most of them do. And I like the sort of the gruff, stroppy element. So I'm you mean you don't have the gothic flavor? Well, it's very similar to Tau from that respect. In that respect, they are quite other, and I like other. I mean, if you look at some of the early Horus Heresy novels, the Interrex couldn't be less grimdark. They're incredibly sleek, incredibly high science. But then when you compare it to some of the, what were they called? The techno autocracy or something, they were they were quite grimdark. The Oretian technocracy, thank you, Immortan Joe. They were quite grimdark. So I like the fact there's variation in the 40k universe where you can have this high gothic, highly repressed, very superstitious culture that is the Imperium of Man. But on the next planet, you can have Tau with the greater good, and I like the variation. So I'm keen. But I will withhold my judgment on until I see them, until I see the book and how they read. I like the idea that they've got these great logic engines that are gradually starting to go a bit senile, and that's why they're sort of expanding out. I like that. That feels that's a bit different. There are some narrative hooks there, you know. So yeah, I like that. So, anything from yourself on this last week, hobby-wise or in general?
Oh, just what you said. I think we had a great game with Joe, didn't we? And that's about it. That's about it from me. Thank you to everybody that sent their teapot pictures. Their teapot pictures are absolutely great. So Kev, Chris sent the teapots with the mugs at the side of them. They look fantastic. So thanks for sending those. Really, really good. I appreciate that. But that's about it this week. Yeah, it's been a bit of a week.
Yes, there's been a lot of non-hobby stuff going on, a lot of non-channel related shenanigans, real life doing its pesky thing.
Yeah.
We still need to get together to sort out the video for the Crimson Ribbon.
Yeah, I've got all those.
But it's not going anywhere. And if it takes us a little while to get that together, then it does, unfortunately.
Well, it is all together. It's just ready to go. So I just need to
That's the thing. You need
give
to
it.
send me all the clips individually, don't you? And then I need to stitch them together. I need to make sure I've done them in the order in which you envisage them. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's why it's a bit different. Okay, so
We got some great interviews as well with people, like conversations and really good.
I did notice that you were
taking everyone outside.
As some games end, well, if some people whose games ended earlier in the round, whilst the ones were still playing, you collared them, took them outside, and interviewed them. So how did it go? And how about you?
It wasn't quite like that. Everybody was really happy to talk about it.
They were. It was really good. Okay, so Codex Chaos Space Marines. Dun dun dun. I like this book. When I played, when I did my review of the book, I thought, this is great. I'm going to really enjoy playing these. And then my interest has waned, and I wonder if I have just done altogether too much chaos stuff, and I need to keep them on the back burner until I get the bug to play them again. I don't know, but they're not the thing that's getting my narrative juices flowing at the moment. It's mainly AOS, but where I think about I really want to do some 40k stuff, I'm thinking about wanting to do armies of guard going up against. I suppose it could be guard versus chaos. I don't know. It's still very much floaty idea. Not quite sure where I am. Kind of time now. So the Legions is where I want to go and where I want to start. Where am I starting? So I'm flicking through the book trying to find the right page. So I'm not going to specifically talk about rules as such, but well, I am and I'm not, and I'll just start rather than saying what I'm going to do. So Black Legion. Oh, I also might not cover all of them. We'll see how things go. Might do this in 2 sessions. I don't know. This might not work. You might leave in droves. So Black Legion, the Black Crusaders rule. So previously that let you move and shoot at full range, basically. So you could be the idea being you are constantly cat attack. They are constantly pushing up the board, or not up the board, but relentlessly pushing into the foe. Didn't really translate to how those rules played out on the table. So the Black Crusaders get two things now. One is they add 1 to combat attrition tests. Sorry, no, they don't. They ignore all modifiers to combat attrition tests. So these guys are far less likely to run away. They're almost sort of loyalist levels of they shall know no fear. It's getting close to that. Not the same rule obviously, but their other rule: each time a model with the trait makes an attack, add 1 to hit roll if they're targeting the closest unit with shooting, or if they made a charge that turn. And that sort of screams to me, victimize the nearest thing, which I think is very Black Legion, Black Crusade kind of thing. I think that puts me in mind of a horde sweeping across a battle zone, destroying everything as they go, which I think feels like how they should be. But the thing I'm really interested in is how the relic, how the stratagems are going to make them play. So they've always been big on the Terminator bodyguards of Abaddon. They've got a Bringers of Despair stratagem, which lets Terminators fight first and gain additional attacks. Very nice. The tip of the spear. This speaks to the old Lunar Wolf tactic of attacking with a heavy assault, sort of a really high-powered drive followed through by a lot of weight coming behind it to sort of smash and then prise apart. And that allows you to do stuff with the unit that's closest to the enemy. So reroll charges, and it lets you can get extra armor pen under a number of characteristics, but it gives you bonuses to the nearest unit. It makes you want to push a wave forward. Hatred Unbound is another mechanic for just laying waste to things, and the Black Legion are the laying waste kind of things. Lords of the Izikarian, that's what's his name? Abaddon's always had a lot of lieutenants. That kind of fits. This to me feels like the tide of spite that's just destroying and burning as it goes. It feels like that's how they can play, which I like. It doesn't so much lean on the extreme versatility that they're meant to have, because, well, does it? So Black Legion have always been able to have followers of the various gods and all the toys in the box, because the Legion is so huge. It comprises companies and warbands that have different particular focuses. Does this do anything to add to that? No, but it doesn't do anything to inhibit it either. Would I still expect a say, a Nurgle Black Legion army to be sweeping across everything and destroying it? Yes, I would. I'd maybe expect them to be doing it a little bit slower, but yeah. So no, it isn't leaning into that, but it's not doing anything to exclude it either. Word bearers. So word bearers are a challenge in this codex because the word bearers have always used demons. So demons are a tool to the word bearers, as well as being in some cases a form something worthy of worship. But that's not just the use of demon engines. It's not just the duality of possession. They use demons as shock troops. Now, that is not something you can do in this codex. There's no way of representing that. I mean, if you're playing narrative, you can take allied demon. I say allied, that's not an official thing, but you can take demon formations if your opponent is so gracious as to not make you lose all your keywords. The narrative way of playing. So what they really need to do is capture the fanaticism towards the powers of chaos. I wonder if that's the reason why Chaos Demons are next. Maybe in the same way that Chaos Knights have a mechanic to let you take a detachment and have no penalties. In the same way with Harlequins, you can take a detachment and have no penalties. I wouldn't be surprised, now I'm thinking about it, if in Codex Demons it let you take detachments with no penalties. So I guess it's watch this space on that one. But their Legion trait, Profane Zeal, okay, it describes what they're meant to do. Well, it implies it. Each time a model makes a melee attack, a charge move, you can reroll, blah, 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 blah. Reroll to hit. It makes them... So what's the description? The word bearers march to war for the glory of the Chaos Pantheon, stirred into a rapturous state of fanaticism by promises of unholy power and in return for the offerings of battlefield sacrifices. I don't know. I mean, I can see how on some occasions that would translate to them really going off on one in a fight. Okay. I don't think that's a big thing. I very much like the next one, though, which is they shrug mortal wounds on a 5+. I think that is a very nice... They have sort of... You see, when you read the descriptions of these have got sort of arcane tattoos from head to toe, and they perform all sorts of rituals, and they have the protection of the dark gods. So I like that very much. They can... Things that are a bit more otherworldly, they can resist. They can't resist a bullet to the face, but they can resist. They have some demonic protection. So that's the Legion trait. Now, stratagems. Curse to spoilers, I like. So this doesn't lean into they're just combat nutters. This is a stratagem that lets you get mega bonuses if you're attacking an enemy that's on an objective marker. Sites the enemy deemed valuable must be cast down and despoiled in the name of the dark gods. Only the foolish would stand between the worm bearers and their unholy task. How word bearery is that? I mean, again, you can make a case for it. I sort of have this mentally in one of the Garrow books, the second one, or is it the first one? The word bearers are attacking some ultramarines, and they're just laughing maniacally as they are as they're pumping bolt of fire in, and that's the image I have with this, is them just laughing as they're unloading mass reactives into a target. I don't know whether that counts as despoiling and casting down the enemy's thing, but it's just cruel. It's cruel and it's spiteful, and I like that. Fanatical zealotry. I like the fact that this is something that a word bearer's character can do to buff up cultist units, and it might not be the best thing in the world, re-rolling charges and re-rolling hits from cultists in melee, but cultists, and just cultists. But word bearers use them a lot. They use them as shock troops. Word bearers, demons, cultists, chaos spawn, mutants, shock troops. They just herd them into battle. And I like that. That really fits for me with that. Revered hosts. Yeah, okay. So their word bearers demon units can be chunkier. They get to reroll to wound. Vengeance from Anarchia, always nice and flavorful to have a spiteful grudge against one of the first founding chapters. Then we've got a number of things around almost having the favor of the Dark Gods. So Dark Pact, Malevolent Covenant, Hexagrammic Ward. Hexagrammic Ward changes the damage of an attack to 0. It's not against a character, it's just against anything. I think. Am I reading that right? It is. You can only use it. It's a limited number of uses, but it's the idea that the Dark Gods are watching you. Malevolent Covenant is a similar thing. You can make your psychic tests be passed in certain circumstances, and them undeniable. The power is with you. Dark Pact models can get back up after they've been killed. On a roll of the dice, they are with you. Dark Apostles can be but can better do priest thing. My words aren't working.
They are. It's good. Everybody will know what you mean.
Can better do priest thing with command points spent before battle. Yes, word bearer priest better than thing. So I do get the on the one hand, I don't get the it feels to me like your basic word bearer should be significantly better in some way, either with some kind of additional attacky thing, or it feels like every word bearer should be in some way mystically powered. But then you start to go down into the level of, well, that's really the only thing you see in a roleplay game where you've got wide-ranging stats that make every model sort of, you'd account for their individual blessings and things. They just sort of absorb into the background in 40k. So mystically, there's nothing offensive. They all seem to be defensive. But I guess that's because as soon as you put something offensive in that does some kind of powerful debuff or mortal wounds or something, then it gets hit with the nerf back because it gets overused. So I imagine that's why they're all defensive. It's do to yourself rather than things you can do to others. So I think it hits it hits a number of the notes there. Reasonably happy with word bearers from that point of view. And I guess I'm talking like I need to reach a conclusion for each one. I don't. I'm just talking about them. Must remind myself. Must remind myself that I don't need to reach a conclusion. Night Lords, Terror Tactics. I do like my Night Lords. So the Night Lords wage war in such a way that is so atrocious, so horrific to behold, that no one would ever think of standing against them again. The idea of inviting that kind of retribution is unthinkable. Of course, that was their initial way of war when they were a loyal legion that then just degenerated into just being utter sadists. But whichever way around you cut it for them, their thing is to terrorize. So how well do they do this? Units with this trait have the following ability: Terror Tactics Aura. While an enemy unit is within 9 inches of this unit, subtract 2 from the leadership characteristic of models in that unit and 1 from combat attrition tests. Now, it doesn't say they don't stack up, but I'm certain they don't. They wouldn't, because it would just make armies dissolve as soon as you got 2 or 3 units up front and then kill one of them. So I'm sure that's just of a unit with that ability. So it is likely to make it much more likely for them to fail the test. And the combat attrition is a reasonable mechanic if it is buffed in some way. Of course, there are lots of armies that just ignore it. I say lots, like a couple I can think of. But so if you were to take Space Marine as a bad example, if you were to shoot 1 guardsman out of a unit of 10, and you were within 9 inches when you did it, That would drop their leadership from 7 to 5, making it, roughly speaking, a 2/3 chance of failing. That's not quite right, but it's ballpark. And when they do, a third of those models would run away. I think there are other things in here that you can do to debuff. So, for example, there is a warlord trait called one piece at a time that you can subtract another one from combat attrition tests taken by a unit. So even if they're near full strength, they'd be running away on 4s. If they'd be safe on 4s, be running away half the time. So your Night Lord Warlord with that trait runs up to a unit, kills one of them. Then 2/3 of the time they'll run away, and then half the rest of the unit will leg it. So what's the other thing in here? When you make an attack with a melee weapon, if the unit was below half strength when they were selected to fight, or if it has a leadership characteristic of 5 or less, add 1 to the attack roll. Okay, so if you have a starting leadership of less than 8, then the Marines are going to get +1 to wound you, because your leadership will drop to, if it's 7, they'll drop to 5, which will kick this in. Or if there's less than half of you there, additional 1 to wound. Well, it's an increase in the number that are dead. Right. Strats. In Midnight Clad, they are sort of stealthy, devious peeps, and in Midnight Clad makes them harder to hit. That was good before. I think that's good now. Sound the Black Hunt. Got to make sure you pronounce that right. Isolated survivors and meek of mind are the favoured quarry of the 8th Legion. Pick Night Lords units, basically. Bonuses to target a unit that's below starting strength. If they're below half strength, you can reroll hits. So it's reroll 1s or reroll all hits. So if you brought somebody's leadership down to 5 and you play this, you're rerolling hits and you're +1 to wound. So you're doing a lot of damage. You're getting a lot through.
I've got lots of things.
Okay. Let me get to the end of Night Lords.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just thinking because some of the comments are becoming kind of old now.
Okay.
But I just want to make sure that we capture everybody's comments, questions, and stuff. Because the more we move on, the less it.
So I'll get to the end of Night Lords. Okay. Then we'll go through all the questions and we'll see where we land time-wise.
That's fine by me.
That's possibly as far as we're getting tonight.
I've got questions from Discord as well, you see, so I'm getting a bit like, we need to...
Well, we don't necessarily always need to do the Discord questions. We can save them up.
Some of them are relevant. So.
Okay.
We will be doing them. And one's from my little friend Kieran, so I've got to do it.
Okay, so flay them alive is a stratagem. When the enemy warlord is killed by a Night Lord's unit, until the end of the battle, subtract 1 from combat attrition tests. So if you take the head off the enemy snake, you can really make that combat attrition a thing, and then start to take them apart a piece at a time. Underhand scheming. All right, charge in a turn in which you fell back. Okay, so that's hit and run. That's right. I wonder why they've changed that from hit and run. From the night used to be charging out of cover. It's now it interlinks with the reinforcements mechanic to just increase the turn number, so they get to come on the board from different angles. Screaming Skies. Jump pack models. So we have a membership chat from Bluester, who a member for 6 months, who has said :P. :P. Or possibly he said,
It's a tongue out, isn't it?
Yeah, it
it's
is.
a tongue
It
out.
I'm just being facetious. So Screaming Skies, yes, of course. This is jetpack units can go back up into reserve and then come back down, rather than the one they used to get, which was extra dice to roll to get into combat, which I did like that in theory, because Raptor Strike, that's what it was called. Raptor Strike was it felt right that you could get Night Lords just arriving and killing. But the reality was it never ruddy worked whenever I used it. We have come for you. Yeah, units can't fall back from you under certain circumstances. It's gone up in price. And Vox Scream, the notion of terrifying the enemy by terrifying the enemy with noises, sounds of screamings, horrific viruses in communication systems, and that manifesting as a reduction of aura abilities. Yeah, that kind of says terror to me. That kind of says hit and run, scare and whitless. Okay, Night Lords. Ooh. Commander Autism, member for 17 months. The generic Warlord trait, Lord of Terror, is also really nice for Night Lords. I can't remember what that one does, but I do think you're right. I do remember reading that one and thinking, yeah, that'll do it. Okay, hit me with some questions. We'll have a little drink.
You have to go right back to the beginning now. Cast your minds back.
Okay.
Sanguinary God says, I've played one game with the new Traitor Marine codex. Where can I have 2 characters and 7 smiles a turn? My mind hurts.
Why can I have 2 characters and 7 smiles?
I'm sure that's what he said.
Okay.
I might be wrong.
Then I don't understand the question.
Look at it again. While I'm doing that. Okay. Mick the Machine says,
Smites.
Oh, Smites. Yeah, missing a T. Smites, thank you.
Yes, it would be smiles, wouldn't it? Yeah. Can they have 7 smites a turn? Well, anyone can have 7 smites a turn. It's just in match play they're casting scales, unless there's something that you're going to tell me doesn't, that I've missed when going through the book. See, the thing is, when you do a review of the book, I'm sure, I imagine other folks experience this, but you read it, you work out a list, and then when you play a game, then you go back and you go, right, and what's this? I never absorb it all just by reading. So I often miss things when doing reviews. And playtesting is the same, right? Games developers are the same. It isn't until you give it to players that they go, this and this and this. Boom. Excuse me. And I can see Sanguinary God is just putting in here about it, saying it's the Balefire Tome. That makes sense, because you can make every unit a Psyker by giving it a Balefire Tome. And if you're not, it isn't technically a match play restriction. It's technically baked into the core rule set, but it does allow a huge amount of smiting, and I think they will nerf that. You see, I'd be more for saying that actually like going back to 8th ed, some of the 8th ed things where you have units that can do lots of smites rather than saying they scale. You you make it a 1 mortal wound smite and a D3 on a super smite, or they can cast the psychic power that they've got, which is going to be much more effective, and it spreads everything around and shares the love and shares the hate, more to the point. Okay, hit me.
Mick the Machine says, I love the new Chaos Codex. Feels well balanced without being broken.
Yep. Well, I haven't played with it yet, but that's how it read to me.
Aaron says, do you think the word bearers will be the first to get nerf?
First to get nerf? It depends what. I cannot see the. I can't see the power moves in the book. I don't look for them, so I don't know what they would be nerfed for. As far as I understand it, the Balefire Tome, any unit of legionaries can have it, so you don't have to be word bearers to have all the smites. What else would they be being nerfed? I guess it's the damage reduction and the get back up from being dead, but there are other things that they don't have, which other armies do. So I don't know. It's hard for me to see that because my brain just doesn't work that way, and I don't play that way. I don't come up with builds that would exploit that kind of thing that would enable me to know that. I'm not wired that way. Loads of people out there are. I'm sure there are websites where people talk about websites. I'm sure there are channels and things where people talk about all that. Yeah.
I'm just
next.
I'm just Commander Otis, and I'm just saying he does know I can throw him out right. Just because I don't know all the lingo yet, you know.
Yes, you're getting better all the time.
I am getting better. I think.
The thing is, if he'd written Arcane Bolt, you'd know what that was because you're learning Age of Sigmar. You're not learning 40k because 40k is a sticky mess at the minute.
Well, I'm going to strike this comment because I was just going to put that Commander Autism is painting Night Lords tonight. That's what he's just put in the chat earlier on. So that's what he's doing, Night Lords. Immortan Joe, currently doing the Hunters myself. The capes are going to be fun.
Yeah, Vanguard Hunters. They've got those very... those capes are quite good. So it's a fur cape, but because it's a more recent model, some of the sort of tufts on the fur have got quite a lot of definition. I painted mine with a coat of Steel Legion Drab, then a coat of Agrax. Done. And it looked fine. Obviously, that's just a very boring, it's a bear pattern rather than your sort of funky yellow and purple striped saber-toothed tiger kind of pattern.
Okay, so Wandering Walrus says, and I love this comment, this is fabulous. I really enjoy the fact that a woman is off screen managing this guy. He loves it too. Andrew Gamer says, what do you think of the new Angron model?
Nah, I don't know. I don't know in my mind's eye. I mean, obviously, intellectually, I understand that the Red Angel has wings. I don't know that they look very well on the model, though. I mean, it looks fine. It's like an Uber Demon Prince, but does it scream Red Angel to me? Not really. Does it? If I looked at it and someone asked me what it was, I would not have instantly said it was Angron. If I'd then eventually noticed the braids on the head that are actually the butcher's nails, I'd go, it's Angron. But you see, the Mortarion and Magnus the Red are very close to their pre-mutation-y versions of themselves. They've got very, very recognizable characteristics. Angron, doesn't feel that way. I don't think they've captured that for me. I don't think they've captured that for me. Maybe I'm being harsh. Maybe I need to see the model in person. Maybe I need to have a sort of 3D look at it, examine some of the detail. Just based on the couple of pictures I've seen that I've not studied in detail, I think it's the weakest of the 4 Primarchs.
Ready?
Yes.
Bordy09 says, I think there is a Black Legion strat that allows you to change Legion tactics to other Traitor Legion tactics. ?
Yes, you're right. There is. There's one. That must have been one of the last couple that I only glanced at. There is one. I think it's a once per game though, which is a bit annoying because it feels like if a unit was from the Emperor's Children, that's a bad example. If a unit was from the Iron Warriors and joined the Night Legion, I'd want to be able to spend a strat to give them the Iron Warriors traits for the game, not just once per game, turn it on a certain unit for one action. Don't know. I'm not entirely certain I think that, but I think that. So that's what I think I'm going to think for now. Until I rethink.
I'm going to think.
Until I rethink.
Until I have a rethink. I hope I'm saying this right. This is Tiamat Delord. They have.
It'll be Tiamat.
Tiamat Delord.
Tiamat was the
Lord.
Tiamat Demon Lord, probably.
It just says Delord.
Tiamat was the 7-headed Queen of False Dragons in Dungeons and Dragons, the cartoon.
Oh, right, okay. It just says Delord.
Delord.
So
if you Google Tiamat, you'll see pictures of a dragon with 7 heads.
I will do that after this. So he says they have the Poxwalker rules, but you take more Legionnaires through to balance out the cultist mobs. Then you have new cultist elite things.
Say that again.
You read it, and then that might make more sense to you.
They have the Poxwalker rules, but you take more Legionnaires through to balance out the cultist mobs. You have new cultist elite things. Okay, I'm not sure of the context of that, but he's quite right. So there's if you want to start taking lots of cultists, this is possibly what I was talking word bearers taking cultists. You can't take more cultists than you've got core legionaries. They don't necessarily have to be normal. They don't necessarily have to be troops, but you know, you could if you couldn't just take cultists. You'd have to take cultists and the number of marines to offset them. And yes, there are some cultists that are uber mutants who are more they're a different choice of some sort. I can't remember.
Mr. Bluester says, does the book have a way to make your traitor captain into a demon prince by any chance?
Well, you could take a demon prince. I don't want to sound facetious, but from a narrative point of view, a demon prince can have been a traitor captain. I want to see now. I want to see the objective differences of the Chaos Lord. So Chaos Lord lets the galaxy burn, and the Lord of Chaos, which is a reroll aura. Now, Demon Princes. Heretic Astartes Demon Prince. Lord of Chaos, they have the same aura. They're demonic. They have an invulnerable save the same. They have Let the Galaxy Burn. So I think the facetious answer is you can just take a Demon Prince. Unless there's a stratagem to give them the demon keyword. There was one in the Psychic Awakening. You could give a character a demon keyword. I'm pretty sure that wasn't there when I looked at the... that will be the context of the question. No, nothing word spirit of bearer specific to make a character a demon. Let me just cast my eye over all the generic ones. Scanning for the demon keyword. It'll be one of these. It'll be one of the red ones, the requisition stratagems. Warlord, Gift of Chaos, Trophies of the Long War. No, I don't think there is. I don't think you can make a standard character a demon these days. I can see at the tail end of the chat them say, yes, in 3rd edition, you could take up to, I think it was 100 points of demon upgrades for your characters. Anyone over 50 points counted as a demon prince and had to be modelled as such, so needed to be on a 40mm base with some height. Because it was more a case of the more demonic they got, the more prince was a very sort of descriptive rather than definitive term.
Okay,
yes.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Sanguinary God says, plan run night lords with raptors, Bellacore,
Yeah.
and other stuff that reduces enemy leadership.
Yeah, I mean, there's a way you can do that. I mean, if there is something in the Demon Codex that lets you add demons to Marines, that would work. I know that you can add a Chaos Knight to Marines, and one of the basic things a Chaos Knight has is an Aura of Despair, which reduces leadership and combat attrition tests. You take that combo, and they're already, shoot them once, and they're running away on 4+ with a leadership of -3. Enemy army dissolves. But then you come up against an army that's immune to combat attrition negatives, and then your whole plan falls to tiny little bits of rabbit poo.
Rabbit poo?
Rabbit poo, yeah.
Okay.
It's gone to rabbit poo! That's going to be my new...
It's gone to rabbit poo.
My new war cry in the face of adversity.
It's gone to
rabbit poo! I might start using that at work where things go wrong. Yeah. It's gone to rabbit poo.
It's a rabbit poo. Okay. Immortan Joe says, does From the Night allow match play deep strike turn 1?
I imagine it does, because it tells you that the turn counts.
I'm cramping my foot.
Oh no!
Sorry, I'm wiggling around.
Quick, walk it off.
I'm wiggling it around.
That's basically what I'm saying. She's got a foot up my arse, is what she's saying.
I have not. That's far too kinky.
Yeah, it just says set up as if the battle round was 1 higher. Nothing about 1 still counts as 1. So yeah. Yeah. Next.
Okay, so there's only a few from Discord.
Have you seen Lemmy, by the way?
Have I seen her? Yes, she's about this big. Furry, very, very furry.
Crimson.
Yeah. Oh.
For those of you who are watching, if you just look here, she's lying atop a chest of drawers asleep, and that's just her head there.
It's so cute. Everybody is hot. Everybody is boiling, including the cat. So Tom says, are there any AOS armies you can't see yourself collecting?
Answered that last week.
Did you?
We did.
Oh, right. Okay, then. So we ignore that. Then.
The answer was Idoneth Deepkin and most of the Lumineth Realm Lords, but there are some units I quite like, but some I really don't.
Did you answer? Little Kieran? Will you do another painting live stream? I don't think you answered.
Don't think I answered that.
Will you do another painting live stream?
The painting live stream was hard because it was really difficult to keep watching the comments.
Yeah.
I think the way a painting live stream would work is to have someone with me, like an admin assistant of some sort, and whilst I'm sat painting, get conversation fired at me. I also know that I have to paint something straightforward because I can't. I'm not a multitasker at all.
This is really true.
Oh yeah,
really true.
I conform to the stereotype in spades, and if I am having to think about what I'm painting, I won't be able to think about what I'm saying, and vice versa. So it needs to be something set up where I'm doing something straightforward, like if I'm churning through, I don't know, guardsmen or something. Yeah.
Have I just kicked you up the bum?
Again.
I'm really sorry. Yeah. I think I'm going to take you up on your offer, Sanguiri God. Let's do the time warp. He said to do the time warp. Do the time warp. Will this get rid of the cramp in my foot? That's what I'm thinking. Okay, so the claw said, why didn't the Emperor realise Horus was a traitor from his last name?
Well, his last name is Lupercal. I don't know what that actually translates. If that actually translates as something, probably because GW named them all very early on when it wasn't particularly imaginative with names. So the really angry Primarch, Angron, the Death Primarch, Mortarion. So I doubt that. Let me Google the word Lupercal and see if that actually comes up as something. Lupercal. The Lupercal was a cave at the southwest foot of the Palatine Hill in Rome, located somewhere between the Temple of Magna Carta and Saint Antagonistia al Pantino. I think I don't understand the question, or I don't understand the context of the question. So maybe we'll come back to that one another time when I understand it further.
What are your thoughts on the new Angron, and what design changes do you think they will do to Fulgrim?
Angron, we have talked about. What do I think they'll do to Fulgrim? I want to see Fulgrim as a big coiled snake, a sort of like centaur equivalent, but rather than half man, half horse, half man, half snake. That's what I want to see. You thought Horus's surname was Heresy. I get the joke. It's very warm.
And last but not least in there, Immortan Joe says, if you could be a fly on the wall, what conversation or interaction would you like to be privy to?
Just in general?
I think in general, yeah. There's no guide. Joe, is this in general? think so.
That's pretty deep.
Oh, there, 40k. 40k or AOS. Not in real life.
Well, it'd spoil things, wouldn't it? Because the big thing with Chaos and Loyalists in Space Marines in 40k is the Emperor was just using the Legionaries to achieve his goals, then he was going to throw them away, like he did the Thunder Warriors. That's what Chaos thought. That's not what the Loyalists thought. The thing I would want to know from an intellectual point of view is whether that was true. So the conversation probably with the Emperor and Markador, conversations with the Emperor and Markador about that. But if I know that, it spoils a lot about the game. It's best not known, but that is the conversation, I think.
Oh.
There is something that is better not to know.
Mm.
And you're throwing your hands in the air suggests that we're out of questions.
We're out of questions.
Well,
so far.
On that happy note, I think we should...
It's in my leg now.
I think we should start to wrap up. So first of all, I'm going to thank Crimson for her amazing admin skills, as ever. Who else are we thanking?
We are thanking Super Chats, Mick the Machine, Sam Nash, Paul Gray, and Wandering Walrus.
Twice.
Wandering Walrus, I love it. And we did the shout out to Keith from West Oz, didn't we?
We did.
Use the membership comments this week are Paul Gray 12 months, Bluester 6 months, and Commander Autism 17 months. So thank you very much. 17 months. Wow.
We've been going a while. We have been going a while.
Thank you, Mick.
And thank everyone. Thank you all for tuning in, and a big thank you to channel members. Your ongoing support makes all this possible. You're all legends to me. And on that note,
we'll miss you next week. Sanguinary regards. Not coming on next week.
Boo.
Yeah, if you can get on. Say hello to Sarah for us, Mick, and Chris for us, Matthew. Say hi to them both.
Hi.
And obviously the gorgeous Carrie, who lent me Joe on Sunday for the full day. Thank you very much. Oh, is she? Oh, hello, Chris. You're a lot better mannered than Matthew. And thanks for all your texts and pictures, by the way. I really appreciate it. Oh.
Right. We will see you all next week then.
We will.
Thanks, everyone.
See you next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye. And